Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big Nick Energy YouTube channel. Mill here with another post-game show. Unfortunately, this one was a loss, a very disappointing one to the Miami Heat in Miami. The game ended at 109-99 with Miami up front. This was really disappointing to see. I was hoping the Knicks would be able to bounce back, especially, after the past two losses have been such heartbreakers, literally losses in the final minutes. But this one, they came out and they just trailed from the get-go. The Knicks were pretty much down this entire game. The Heat had a largest lead of 16 at one point, and Knicks were able to come back. They do a little bit of a fake comeback some games, and that's pretty much what we saw tonight. I mean, they did come back. I think the closest they got it was down. They cut the lead down to 2 points in that fourth quarter, but they couldn't get any further. They couldn't get past the Heat and take a lead on them in those last few minutes in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, I mean, we'll get into it. We'll talk about what exactly happened there in that fourth quarter and what I think happened, why we weren't able to get past further. But I mean, just super disappointing. Again, we now have lost 3 in a row, and unfortunately, we are in the fifth seed now. It really sucks to hear that we are in the fifth seed, because less than a week ago we were the third seed and we were trying to chase the second seed. So to see us go down to fifth and just lose 3 games in a row, it sucks. It hurts. None of us expected the Knicks to go on a 3-game losing streak after claiming the third seed. So this is has it's been a rough couple of days, a rough couple of games we've seen. Very winnable games, all of them, really. I mean, firstly, the Spurs game, we definitely thought the Knicks were going to take the win there. The Spurs have only won 18 games on the season. They're not a great team, so we expected a win there. OKC, I know if, Shea, he was questionable the day before, he was doubtful. So if he wasn't playing, I had Knicks with a great chance to win that game. He did play, so it was a little bit of a tough effort, but still, the Knicks had a great chance to win that game. They pretty much they were in it that entire game, all quarters. They kept up with OKC. They even had their own lead. Unfortunately, in the last few minutes, though, things take a turn and the Knicks find themselves down. They missed a lot of free throws. I believe they missed 7 in that fourth quarter. So there's that. That's how that game lost. And then tonight, we have another disappointing loss against the Miami Heat, who we won 2 previous games on the season against. Some pretty good games too. A game where we actually came back after being down by, I think, 21 points it was, they mentioned. So that was a really good game earlier in the season where we were able to come back successfully, but we couldn't come back tonight being down the most, 16 points. So just really unfortunate. And I have to point out that Terry Rozier probably had one of his best games in a Heat uniform so far. The man had 8 3-pointers. He was 8 for 11. That's insane efficiency from the 3-point line. He only missed 3 times. So he was really feeling it tonight. In total, he had 34 points and 5 rebounds, 3 assists. That's all for him, but pretty insane. We couldn't really contain him at all. He was really going off from the 3-point line. And yeah, he's a great player. So you expect performances like that from guys like him, but it just sucks that his best performance so far as a member of the Heat has to come against us. It sucks. But it also says something about our defense the past few days. It hasn't been up to par at all. Our defense has been really, really lacking these past few games, and I hate to see it. I really, really hate to see it because some games, I would say prior to these past these 3 losses, our defense was pretty good. We were getting a lot of recognition from the league and from media outlets for how good our defense was. I believe we were number 1 probably in March, maybe our defensive rating. And, there was just a lot of headlines, how we were able to keep teams under 80 points, under 90 points, and we were doing a really great job at it. The saying that BKE literally has merch of is that they come into our arena and they get hit with metal bats. That's how it usually is. But the past 3 games, that's not been the case. That hasn't really been the case at all. Our defense has been struggling. And it really makes me miss OG Anunoby, straight up. It really makes me wonder when he's coming back, because when he's on the court, our defense is a completely different ball game. It's completely different. We know that. We all know that as Knicks fans, that he changes our defense. He impacts it just being on the court. I don't know how it's possible that he can impact our entire, team defense with everyone wanting to step up when he's there, but he does it. I mean, all the help that he does when he's out there, him defending the best player on the opposing team every night, it's something we're really missing, something we desperately need. We need it bad. We need it quick, too, because with us dropping down to fifth, it's possible we can drop even further if we continue to lose games. I mean, the Eastern Conference is really, really close. I'm going to pull up the standings in just a little bit, but the standings are close. You lose a few games, you're down a few spots. As you can tell, we were third 6 games ago. Now we're fifth. So we have to be winning games. We have to continue to win, because playoff seeding is important, super important. A lot of people don't really care. They just want the playoffs to come already and for us to be healthy. But personally, I would like to steer clear of the Boston Celtics. That's one team I would like to steer clear of. And, I'm going to say it. I would like to steer clear of the Miami Heat as well. They're not a team I would like to play in the first round. I don't think that's going to happen because they're below us as well. So we're fifth right now, but they're below us. And right now, if the playoffs were to start today, we would play against the Orlando Magic, who has the tiebreaker on us this season. They've won more games against us. And I'm not too worried about that series if it were to be a 4-5 series against them. But again, in that second round, we would have to face the Boston Celtics. And I'm just not trying to do that if we're not fully healthy. If we're fully healthy, I think I'm okay with that. We have back Julius Randle, we have back OG Anunoby, but if we can stay clear of the Boston Celtics by becoming a 3 seed, dropping down to 6 is an option, and then we don't face the Celtics until the Eastern Conference Finals, where possibly that's when we maybe get back Julius Randle. That's more of an option that I like. Personally, I'm just trying to figure out the best seeding for us and the best pathway, because again, we have not won a game against the Boston Celtics this season. I think we're like 4-0 against them this season. So I'm not going to be too confident saying with the team that we have right now, a team without Julius Randle and without OG Anunoby, because we don't know when they're coming back, I'm not confident in saying that we can compete against the Celtics with this current team. Brunson, he can do his thing. He can put up 61 points, but it's not always enough. As we saw that game that he put up 61 points, we still lost. So we need our guys back. We truly do. I'm waiting every day to hear a good update about them, but we're not really hearing good updates. I believe the last thing we heard about OG was that he hasn't been doing any contact drills or receiving any contact playing wise since he's been sidelined, since he has been, on the bench after coming out after aggravating his elbow. So he hasn't been doing any contact. Julius Randle hasn't been cleared for contact. We haven't been hearing good updates. What's good, Almighty? Thank you for tuning in. Almighty said, any chance we win 50 games and go on a 6-game win streak? Honestly, Almighty, I don't even know. I'm going to pull up their schedule right now just to see who do we play in the next few games. I'm curious. Because at first, if you asked me a week ago when we had just took over the 3rd seed and we had like 10 or 11 games left, I would have said, yeah, definitely we're a 50 win team. But recently, with the 3 losses we've just had, I don't know about that now. And honestly, it's not my biggest concern of getting 50 wins. My concern is more about the seeding. If we can climb back into the 3rd seed, it's going to be tough because we just dropped down two spots, losing this game tonight. So the next game we play is against the Kings. And so we have the Kings, we have the Bulls, the Bucks, the Bulls, the Celtics, Nets, and Bulls for the rest of the season. I would take all wins against the Bulls. That's just me. I'm saying we take all the wins. But knowing the Knicks, we're probably going to go 2-1 in that series. So there's 2 wins right there. The Celtics, it really depends because I've heard a lot of people saying that by that time, April 11th, that the Celtics might be resting a lot of their starters, their star players. So if they are resting some of their players, I do see us winning that game because I don't think Tibbs is resting his starters. I don't think that we're going to do that. But I would take that as a win. Let's see. The Kings is tricky just because we did win against them last time. But from how we've been playing recently, I don't even know what direction this team is headed in right now. We're on a 3-game losing streak, and the next game we play is against the Kings. So, they could either, really depending on their mindset, if they really want to bounce back, they'll bounce back. But it's dangerous being on a losing streak, It really gets to you. The mentality. Your mentality can really change during a losing streak. So hopefully they can bounce back. We have won against the Kings before, so I am somewhat confident. And that was a good win on the road against the Kings. So, I would take that as another win. But do we hit 50? I'm not sure. We need 6 more games. And right now I'm counting. Let's see. I'll take the Kings 1, the Bulls 2, the Bucks is another one I'm not sure of right now. If we could beat the Bucks still without our main weapons, without OG, without Randall. I'm saying possibly, but let's just count that as an L right now. So we're still at 2 wins. The Bulls again. Let's take that as another one. 3. Celtics. Depends if they still got their starters, but I'm just going to say L. So we got 3. And the Nets, definitely a win. 4. And the Bulls is the last game of the season, which makes it 5 wins. So we might end up with 49 wins, which it's fine. Again, it's fine if we don't hit 50. To me, what matters is that we climb back up in our seeding and we climb back up to 3rd, because 3rd is the pathway I'm trying to take, not 4th, not 5th, which we're in right now, 5th spot. Lorenzo said, playing like this, unlikely. Yeah, you're right, Lorenzo. It's really unlikely we go on a 6-game winning streak, and that's also why I was questioning whether we win the next game or not against the Kings, who are still a great team. So I'm just really unsure if we win against them, because the Knicks are on a 3-game losing streak. Like I said before, a team on a losing streak is pretty dangerous. They can continue to lose. I mean, it really depends on how hard they want this win, how hard they're going to bounce back from this loss tonight. Almighty said against the Kings will be a tough one. It will be, but we did win against them. If you remember on the road trip, I really liked that game. ... said Heat in 5. You're lucky that OG and Randall weren't there tonight. I'll say that. And don't forget, we won 2 games against the Heat this season. You guys won tonight. But again, this was a really bad night and really bad loss. Clearly, you got the Heat led majority of the game. But in the playoffs, with a healthy Julius Randle and OG, it's a completely different story. It's a different story. So I wouldn't say Heat in 5. Almighty said, imagine OG comes back Thursday. That'll be crazy, just because, I don't even expect him to come back before the season ends. He hasn't been taking any contact recently. Ever since he got sidelined, he hasn't been taking contact. He hasn't been doing any contact drills. Not sure what he's doing right now. So it really does concern me. OG's injury in general concerns me. Him as a player, Raptors fans have always said he's really injury prone. He usually doesn't play a full season because he gets sidelined at some point, and that concerns me alone, because I don't want a player that is not going to be able to play straight up. Who wants a player that's not going to be able to play and that's going to stay injured? It's not helping our team in any way. And I believe that he does want to get paid this summer. I saw a lot of news recently about potential contracts for him this summer that he might sign. I've seen like 100 100 plus million for like 4 years, and I'm just really hesitant about that, honestly. Like, from what OG did in the 1 month that we had him completely, like, no missed games at all, we did so good that month. Literally set history since 1994 with the amount of wins we had in that month. But I don't know if that's enough for the Knicks to full on give him the money that he wants in a 100 million plus contract. I don't know if that's enough. Like, we've only seen him for 1 full month this season so far after we traded for him. Mr. Nostalgia said, "What's up? My boy Alonzo brought me here. What's up? Thank you for tuning in. Just going over this Knicks Heat game, pretty disappointing, and just talking about when OG and Randall are probably going to come back. We don't know yet." Some Mr. said, "I think games like this are what remind us in the fan base how much we need at least OG healthy." Agreed. And he also said OG did everything RJ didn't. Yeah, I agree. RJ was not a great fit for this team. And when OG came in, you can completely see that he fit right into this Knicks team. It was really the opposite, So I really love to see when OG's on the court, but we haven't been seeing him. He's been sidelined. He's been hurt. He had surgery. He came back, and then he aggravated his injury again. So it's been frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for him. But I think as long as we get him back for the playoffs, I think I'm okay with that. Like, I guess I don't mind losing these games right now because ultimately I wouldn't want him to rush his process, rush his his progression and come back and then just to aggravate his injury again. I wouldn't want that at all. I wouldn't want him to rush and do that. So I think I'm honestly just wanting him for the playoffs. The playoffs matter. Regular season doesn't. Again, playoff seeding matters. So that's one thing you have to take into account because we do not want to drop any further. I don't think we can drop. I mean, it's still a possibility that we can drop to the play-in tournament. I don't think we drop that down, but still a possibility if we keep losing games. So honestly, we're at 5th right now. I was really hoping we could stay in that 3rd spot. I really like the 3rd seed. It's going to be tough to climb back up there. We just have to hope for some Cavs losses, and we got to hope for some Knicks wins. They have to bounce back because three losses in a row, it's not okay. It's not acceptable, especially because these were very winnable games. I already went through it. The first game against the Spurs, we should have won that game. That was pretty much a trap game because we're going against a team that is one of the worst in the league. After that win, they got 18 wins on the season. So we should have won that. The OKC game was very winnable. It was close throughout the entire game. And that 4th quarter of doom happened. I believe we let up 39 points in that 4th quarter. That's awful defense right there. Very awful. And don't forget the fact that we missed 7 free throws in that 4th quarter. You guys remember, it was not too long ago, just a few days ago. Watching the Knicks miss that many free throws, it really hurt. They're really, really in a funk right now. And tonight, the Knicks, they were down from the get-go. They trailed most of this game. The largest lead was 16 for the Heat. And they did make a fake comeback at the end there. Fake comeback where I believe they cut it to 2 points, or correct me if I'm wrong if they did tie it. I don't think they did, but I saw them getting as close as 2 points. And then we fumbled. Unfortunately, Precious Achiuwa fouled someone on the 3-point line. I think it was Rozier. Yeah, and that pretty much killed the momentum. The momentum was gone after that. And Rozier had 3 free throws. So I believe they said he was shooting 90% from the free throw line ever since he was traded to the Heat. So he made all 3, and that made it a 4-point game, and we pretty much could not score after that. We really couldn't score. Mr. Nostalgia said, "We need that efficient wing who plays solid and consistent defense and can cut in playoff ball. Need that in the midst of all that ISO and offense. Yeah, seriously, that's what we've been missing. The past few games, we've been seeing a lot of ISO for Brunson. A lot, like pretty much majority of the game you're seeing it, and especially down the stretch. You're seeing it in the fourth quarter, the last few minutes, because pretty much Brunson is taking over the ball game at that point, and he's taking most of the shots. He's taking all the shots, doing all the ISO. What we need is exactly what you said. We need OG. We need someone who can play off the ball and consistent defense. Almighty said OG is here long term. Yeah, I'm hoping he is, because from what we just saw in that month alone was amazing. But I'm also hoping that if he is here long term, that he's actually here. Like, he is going to play the next few seasons and it will not be sidelined. Brian said Brunson is clearly tired. He has game. He has showed it. Yeah, Brunson tonight, I think it was one of his worst games of the season, honestly. He was 5 for 18 from the field, 1 for 6 from the three-point line. Overall, he had 20 points and 10 assists. You know, he still put up 20 points, and I love the 10 assists that part. But he really, really struggled from the field and the three-point line. Couldn't get anything to go. So pretty much just one of his worst nights, and it was an off night for him. And again, he was doing a lot of ISO, forcing up a lot of shots. So it was a tough night. You said it, Brian. He's tired. He does look tired out there, and it was just a really off night for him. We've seen him have a few of those before, but this was an especially off night for him. So, you know, he ended the game with 20. It was DiVincenzo who was the leading scorer of the game. DiVincenzo had 31. He was 11 for 21 from the field, 6 for 15 from the three-point line. And, you know, 4 steals, 4 assists. He pretty much led this game. Devo was pretty good. You know, 6 3-pointers. Love to see that every game. That's what he's here to do. He's here to put up threes, but you know, he's also here for the defense and to pretty much just score as he's been doing. 31 points. Some people had some off nights. I mean, Precious Achiuwa couldn't really get anything going offensively. He only had 2 points. And I mean, everyone's defense is just, it's really questionable at times in the games. Bogdanovic, though, was a nice highlight to see, especially in those last few minutes where, you know, he was in that fourth quarter. We usually don't see that. We usually will see the starters in there. But Tibbs went with Bogdanovic, and I liked what I saw from him. He had 16 points in total. He was 6 for 10 from the field, 1 for 4 from the three-point line. He did have 6 rebounds too. So I really liked what I saw from him. But I also just think that Bogey is a really on and off guy. One game you hate him, one game you love him. Because, I mean, every game he's not going to put up 16 points. The next game he might have 0. He might have a few points. I really just want him to be consistent, and then I could start liking him as a player, because from what we've seen in over a month that he's been a Knick, it hasn't been impressive. But there's only been, I would say, like 3 or 4 games probably, where he has actually looked good in a game, and he's been scoring efficiently. Almighty said, I think the Knicks medical rushed him back. Referring to OG. I'm not sure because honestly, I think the medical team is pretty good just on timing. I mean, obviously they're holding Julius Randle back right now. They're waiting for him to really be good. So I don't know if they rushed OG back, but he definitely did re-aggravate his injury. Alonzo said, "What's up, Joe? I see you chatting with my girl Mill. Salute to you, Alonzo. Thank you for tuning in." Let's see. Let's read some more comments over here. Oh, man. Someone said smoking that Knicks pack. It's not what I like to hear at all. Usually we're supposed to be smoking on their pack. We're supposed to be smoking on a Heat pack tonight. And it's the other way around. Man, life doesn't life when the Knicks are losing. And I wonder what our largest or our longest losing streak has been this season. I think it's either been 3 games or less. I feel like we haven't really gone through a point where it's been more than 3 games. Oh, you know what? Maybe possibly before the OG trade, we probably went through some long losing streaks, maybe like 3 or 4 games. But ever since then, we haven't really. Oh, but February was pretty bad. Sorry, I have the memory of a goldfish. I'm thinking if February was pretty bad, we probably had like a 5-game losing streak when everyone was down. I mean, literally everyone. Mr. Nostalgia said, I missed the game, unfortunately. Sounds like I should be glad I did. Yeah, I missed the first half, so I pretty much just tuned in from the second half. And I did get to witness the Knicks' fake comeback in that fourth quarter. It was exciting. It was pretty exciting to see that from them attempting to come back and getting those few stops, which led them to coming back. But as soon as Precious fouled, so obviously you didn't watch it, but I'll tell you what pretty much killed the momentum in that comeback was Precious Achiuwa fouling Terry Rozier on a three-pointer. So that just stopped the game. It stops all the momentum. Rozier hit all 3 free throws, and that put the Heat up by 4 at that point. So it was really close. But then that put the Heat up by more points, and after that, we pretty much could not score. We really, really struggled, so all the momentum was gone after that. And you knew the game was over. Will said, I think number 3 will be tough. Best case scenario, number 4 or 5. And play Magic. I'd rather have Magic over Pacers and Heat. Yeah, number 3 will be tough because, obviously we just lost 3 games and we have some, we have like what, 6 games, 7. Let me check the schedule. I just had it over here. Let's count how many games we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 games left, and there's some winnable games there. We play the Bulls 3 times. We play the Nets, which is a guaranteed win. We own the Nets. But we do play the Kings next, and I'm not sure about that game yet. With the way we've been playing, I'm not sure. We did beat them last time, but I'm just not sure. And the Bulls I count as wins, but I kind of see it unlikely for us to just go 3-0 against the Bulls in this next stretch. Guaranteed we lose one of those games for some reason. That's just how NBA works. That's just how the Knicks are. I mean, you can count us winning against bad teams, but then we lose to the Spurs, who have won 18 games on the season, so make it make sense. And then we play the Celtics in the next 7 games that we have left in the season, which I'm not sure is a win or loss. I'm not sure. Depending on if the Celtics are resting their starters at that point, it's an automatic win. But if they're not, I really don't know. Because who knows if by April 11th, when we play the Celtics, who knows if we get Randall or OG back, or either of them, Mr. Nostalgia said, yeah, Rozier is becoming that guy. Lowry should have been on the Heat now. Yeah. From what we saw tonight, witnessing firsthand, having him on the Heat makes them such a dangerous team. They're already a dangerous team. We saw what they did in the playoffs last season. We saw how they got to the finals. But Rozier on this team now pretty much changes everything. I mean, I know they haven't been the best team this season. Clearly, they're not top 5. But I think in the playoffs, they could be scary once again with playoff Butler. And then you got Rozier now to add to that. And, of course, you got Dirty Bam. So, those 3 right there, they could definitely make another run. J Beers said, this team is cooked. We're all just wondering, when is our main weapons coming back? When is Randall coming back? When is OG coming back? We're stressing right now. We're really stressing because we do not like it when the Knicks lose 1 game. But now the Knicks have lost 3 games in a row. So, yeah, we're definitely saying this team is cooked. Let's read some more comments over here. Brian said, I love our team, but this is playoff time and teams are fighting for a seed. So when we are not healthy like this, teams are coming in thinking this is a beatable team. Yeah, I mean, clearly we got outperformed tonight. We got out hustled, we got outperformed. You're right. Teams are coming in thinking they can beat us, and they have. The past 3 games they have. The Spurs especially. I mean, that game just blows my mind. The fact that we just let them do what they did to us, and we couldn't win that game. Let's see. Brian said, when Brunson is not scoring, he has to look to get guys involved. His playmaking for others could help the Knicks. He did have 10 assists tonight, so I'll give him that. But there definitely are moments where he could possibly getting the team more involved. I'm not going to go down on Brunson too much because he's been like one of the X factors of this season. He's pretty much the reason why we are where we are now. I mean, I know we just dropped to the 5th seed, but hey, look, we were at the 4th seed for a long time, and we managed to get 3rd. All of that was because of him. So you're definitely right, though. The ISO ball is tricky. I don't like to see it too much. Like, I don't like to see it 3 times in a row. That's not what I'm a fan of, unless he's, consistently making it. But still, I do like the team involvement. And, oh wait, is this a similar comment? Brunson has to become more of a playmaker when shots are not falling. I feel like if he sometimes drives or makes a move to makes a move to pass at times, will help the team. He should have 7-8 assists per game. I think he's averaging 6 or 7 on the season. But you're right. We just talked about it. I would love to see him get the team involved just a little bit more at times when instead of doing like ISO 4 plays in a row, especially down the stretch if we need a bucket. I mean, I think it's so tricky because some games he takes over, and I know he purely does it because no one else on the team is going to give us a bucket, like straight up. Like the 61-point game against the Spurs. In that second half, in that 4th quarter specifically, no one else was giving us a bucket. So he pretty much did what he did. He took over, and it was ISO ball for him that like entire 4th quarter. So I wasn't mad at him for doing that because no one else was really scoring. He was feeling it clearly. He had 61 points. So I'm not mad at him for doing that. But other times where we are losing and he's not feeling it, like a game like tonight where he was 5 for 18 from the field. Or yeah, was he 5 for 18? Let me fact check that. 5 for 18 from the field. He can get the team more involved. Alonzo said Brunson don't pass like a true point guard because he the ball dominant alpha on the team. The first option. He can do that, but it ain't his function. He ain't Halliburton or Harden, y'all. Yeah, we shouldn't expect him to be really like someone like Halliburton, who's like averaging over 10 assists a game. And Halliburton his priority mainly is to pass the ball. I mean, his points per game has gone down this season. It's gone down after the midway point of the season, after All-Star break. He doesn't really score that much anymore. From what I'm seeing, like from the few game stats I've seen, he's like barely getting to 20 points. But Brunson has been pretty much a ball dominant point guard because we need him to be. I mean, come on, OG's out, Randall's out. We need him to score the ball pretty much. He's our main weapon with those 2 guys out. He's our 1A. So he's going to be taking a lot of shots, yeah. That's what he feels like he needs to do. And we shouldn't really expect him to be a guy like Halliburton, who is mainly going to be passing the ball. I'm expecting Brunson to score the ball. But again, we mentioned it before, like heavy ISO can be too much at times. It could be a little hard to watch when we watch him when we watch him shoot the ball like 4 times in a row and then miss like multiple times. So yeah, if he's not feeling it, if he has a lot of pressure on him defensively, he can pass the ball. Yup, exactly. That's when Brunson racks up the assists when the defense on the other team knows how to trap him, so he has no choice but to pass and assist. Yeah. Let's see. I did mention his poor shooting tonight, but let's get to a few other players before I read through more comments. Hartenstein played 18 minutes. He had 4 points. I'm curious. So I didn't really watch much of the first half, but not really sure what happened there. I mean, 18 minutes seems pretty low because I know they played Precious in the fourth quarter. They ended the game with Precious Achiuwa. That's what Tibbs did. Not Mitchell Robinson, not Isaiah Hartenstein, but Hartenstein only grabbed 1 rebound in 18 minutes. So what happened there? I'm not sure. But McBride had 24 points tonight. He was a nice highlight to see. Nice to see him bounce back because, he had struggled the past 2 games, and I believe he missed like that game-winning shot. Was it for OKC or the Spurs? Either one. He did miss a game-winning 3 recently, so nice to see him bounce back. He had 4 3-pointers. He was 9 for 16 from the field, 24 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds in 45 minutes. So, yeah, he played majority of the game. Some nights I really wish like McBride is great defensively. I love watching him play, but especially I want to say this, especially on the OKC game when he was defending Shea. I just wish he was like a few inches taller, just a few, because having him on SGA on that last play that won the game, it really hurt. It really hurt us. That's just an automatic win for them. That's an automatic game winner for SGA. Him fading away over McBride, who, I don't even think he had his hands up at that point. And he's smaller than SGA. So let's go over to the bench though. Oh, skipped over Hart. Josh Hart. Oof. Why did Josh Hart only take 3 shots? So in 46 minutes, Josh Hart only had 2 points. He only took 3 shots. Okay, I didn't really watch the first half. I did see the second half where he passed up a lot of shots too. But can someone explain to me why he only attempted 3 shots and why he only has 2 points in 46 minutes? What is going on? Like, seeing that right there on the stat line does not make sense to me. A guy playing 46 minutes should have more than 2 points. I'm sorry. I know he has 7 assists and he has 6 rebounds, but 2 points is pretty unacceptable right there. Let's see. Almighty said Josh Hart gave us nothing. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, Almighty. I'm really, really kind of confused how in 46 minutes he only managed to get 2 points. Mr. Nostalgia said Donte should have been on SGA, honestly, in that game a lot more. Yeah, or just even on that last play, have anyone a little bit taller than Deuce on SGA, because just before Shea even released that ball, you knew it was going in. You knew that ball was going in because of the height advantage he had. And McBride, again, didn't have his hands up, so you knew that was going in. Let's see. Alonzo said DDV or Brunson or Deuce need to start working with Hartenstein on a pick and roll strategy here and there. I always say that I wish the Knicks ran more pick and roll. Like, always. I always wish they did that. Especially with earlier in the season, beginning of the season, when Robinson was still on the court, he didn't get injured yet. I always thought that was the main way we were going to get him involved in the offense, but we barely run it. We barely do. I would love to see them run it more. we'll get our bigs involved on the offensive end. I mean, our guys, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, even Precious Achua, they can get up there. They can dunk the ball. They can catch the lob. We need more pick and roll. Deuce should definitely practice it. Um, you know, we see them do it sometimes, just not as often. Brian said, too lack of a real true point guard coming on the bench. Tibbs trying to find one he can trust, looking like it might be McBride. Tibbs definitely trusts McBride. I mean, at this point, McBride is a Tibbs favorite. Definitely his favorite. He's he got the contract extension, so he's going to be with us. And now that he's been playing a lot more minutes, we've been seeing him consistently score pretty much the past few games and play hard, long minutes. I mean, 45 minutes tonight. That's crazy. There's been other games where he's played the entire game, 48 minutes, multiple too, not just one. So I definitely think Deuce is going to be a Tibbs guy for sure, and probably has his playoff spot locked in, in the rotation. Alonzo said, I don't expect a lot out of Josh Hart. That guy is a glue guy. I don't expect him to score. He had 7 boards and 2 steals. Yeah, 40 plus minutes is it's bad offense, but still. I feel the same way about Josh Hart, and I've had to learn that because earlier in the season I was frustrated when he wouldn't really score the ball that much. I was definitely frustrated. And then we saw what we saw over the past few months, that he really is the glue guy. He has a lot of triple doubles on the season. He will do a lot of the dirty work, a lot of the little things between the boards, the assists. So I don't expect him to be getting like 20 points, 15 points out there, but I think it would be helpful to have at least 10, even 5 to 10 I'm okay with, because 2 points in 46 minutes, it kind of doesn't make sense to me, especially with how many offensive weapons were down. OG, Randall, I kind of expect other guys like him to be taking more shots, but he only attempted 3. He only attempted 3 tonight. Brian said, offense is so slow and takes 15 seconds to get into offense, and we always taking shots late into the shot clock. The pace is non-existent. I've been noticing that too. Like, I've always noticed that is that it takes us really long to get into our offense, and we always end up taking a shot a second before the shot clock goes off. Always notice that is that we really, really struggle to get a good shot off. Most of the time, the shot clock expires, or it's about to. We have to just chuck it up there. I hate seeing that so many times a game. It really makes me frustrated. Brunson, he has to set up the offense, because we can't have a lot of plays like that in the playoffs where we're just chucking up shots because there's a second left on the shot clock. I will not accept that. So we also need guys to take the shots. Like, I'm not trying to like shade Josh Hart here, but he passes up a lot of shots that he should be taking. A lot of shots where he's open. So he only attempted 3 tonight. If they're setting up the offense and he has the ball in the right moment at the right time, he has to take that shot. He can't pass it up again, leading to a shot clock violation, or someone else chucking up the shot just because there's no more time. Ant said, Josh Hart has 0 confidence. He's not even looking at the rim. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have much confidence, because with the past month that he's been having, I would say March and February, those were really good months for him. He got a lot of triple doubles in those months. I thought he would gain some sort of confidence from that at least. But you're right. He doesn't really look at the rim. He has no confidence in shooting. His 3-point percentage has been down this season. It's crazy to think that when we traded for him last season, midway, his percentage for the Knicks that second half of the season was 50% in the regular season, I'll say, not in the playoffs. But 50% for the rest of the season is insane. I think he's at like 30% right now on the season this year. Mr. Nostalgia said, I've always said one thing Deuce is missing in his game is racking up assists. Once he starts getting into that habit, he'd be a great point guard. He averaged 9.7 assists per game his last season in the G League. Yeah, a lot of people have always said that Deuce is more of a shooting guard than a point guard, and I agree with that myself. He looks more like he should be on the wing rather than running the offense because clearly he's a shooter. He is a shooter. We've seen him make 6 3-pointers in one quarter alone recently. I mean, some games he's shooting like Steph Curry, so I think he is more of a shooting guard, but you're right, he does have the potential and the ability to develop his passing ability. So he could get there. You said he averaged 9.7 in the G League. G League is different. It's different, but he could get it up. And that would obviously solve our backup point guard issue because sometimes when Deuce is struggling to run the point and facilitate the offense, it looks like we don't really have a true point guard out there. And it looks like he's better off in the wing as a shooting guard. Mr. Nostalgia said, most definitely I don't hold pressure on him to score either, Lon. Referring to Josh Hart, yeah. I don't hold too much pressure, but again, I would like to see him taking more shots and making more shots because I think that attempting only 3 when he's playing literally the entire game, it's not enough. Let's read a few more comments over here. And then I'll begin to wrap up. I've been live for 47 minutes. Brian said, Josh Hart at this point doesn't have confidence in his shot at all, and it doesn't work for us coming playoff time if he plays 42 minutes and can't and won't shoot. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is that I think if OG and Randall were in the rotation right now, if they were playing, that it doesn't look so bad if he goes 40 minutes in a game without scoring much, because obviously we're not putting the responsibility on him to shoot and to score. It's going to be on our 3 guys. It's going to be on Brunson, OG, Randall, and it's going to be on DiVincenzo, who is another offensive weapon for us, but it won't be much on Hart at that point. Right now, though, is when I think he should be taking more shots and should be making more shots for us because he is playing 45 plus minutes a game, because we're down a few guys in the lineup. I think he should be stepping up on the offense a little bit more. But in the playoffs, I think it'll be a little bit of a different story. And hopefully he's not – hopefully in the playoffs, we're not depending on him to make a 3 to tie the game, to win the game. Hopefully it's DiVincenzo or it's Brunson or it's OG or Randall. I'm not going to put that type of responsibility on him. And said exactly, I think he gets in his own head. Jalen said it on the podcast. Yeah. They might have to discontinue that podcast just for a little bit because a 3-game losing streak, I mean, Josh Hart got to get in the gym. I don't think he should head to the studio. Nah, I'm playing though because, I mean, he can do whatever he wants. But he definitely is lacking some confidence. Hopefully he can get that back, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see. So I'm going to take a look at some team stats. Oh, also, just to mention it, Robinson did come back this game. For those of you that watched, you guys know Robinson came back, but I know a few people didn't watch that are watching this post game. Robinson is back, thankfully. I mean, after he went down, what game was that? Was that the Spurs or OKC? Whichever game he went down, I really thought it was serious again with his ankle. I was scared, but he's back. He played 10 minutes, so he's still probably on a minutes restriction, but only 10 minutes tonight for him. Didn't score and only had 1 rebound and 1 steal, but he's making his way back. He's making his way back. Hopefully in the next few games his minutes will go up and we'll see more from him. Alec Burks only played 3 minutes this game. That's crazy. I mean, that's what's gonna happen though. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get the Fournier treatment if you're just not gonna play good. Sorry, not sorry though. I'm not mad at Alec Burks only playing 3 minutes. Still crazy. Rozier had 34 points tonight. I mean, it's not crazy because he's a great player. That's what he did in Charlotte, literally. But they mentioned it on the broadcast that this was probably his best game in a Miami Heat uniform. What are the odds? Like, why does that have to happen against us? It couldn't happen the next game. It couldn't have happened the game before us. It happens against us. Speaks to our defense right now, though. Giving up 8, he had 8 3-pointers, so we let him shoot 8 3-pointers, and we gave that up. Not okay. I'm looking through the Heat box score a little bit right now. Butler had 17. Bam had 15. So pretty much Rozier was carrying them with 34. No one else besides him scored over 20. Highsmith from off the bench had 14, though. He was pretty big for them as well. Robinson only had 6 points. Yeah. The rookie didn't do much. Jaime, he only had 3 points. The guy that injured Julius Randle, unfortunately. That's what I'm going to remember him by. Let's take a look at some team stats. I noticed, and what they mentioned is that the Knicks let them shoot a lot of 3-pointers in that first half. Not okay at all. We got it. Our perimeter defense has to be better. So we shot 46% from the field overall. They shot 48%. We made 12 3-pointers, but we were shooting 35% from the 3-point line. So we were struggling. We were very much struggling. The Heat made 17 in total. We both attempted the same amount of free throws, but I didn't even mention this. There were a lot of, I hate to like blame the refs, and go down on them, but there were a lot of BS calls tonight as well. I feel like it's been happening every game now. A lot of BS calls, and even though I wasn't really able to tune into the first half of the game, I was on Twitter checking the stats and the highlights, and I saw so many clips of dirty plays. Like, what was going on? I saw Bam Adebayo like purposely stick out his leg and trip Brunson. I saw him shoulder McBride. What was going on? Like, were the refs seeing that? Were the refs seeing that at all? Like, come on. I heard there were a lot of BS calls in that first quarter. But once again, at least we made most of our free throws now. I mean, this game. We missed 11 against OKC, so at least we only missed 4 this game. We have to get it to at least 80%. I mean, 85% for the playoffs. I do not want to see us missing multiple free throws in the playoffs. That will get me so frustrated. I mean, nothing triggers me more than some missed free throws, because those are the easiest points in a game, okay? Free throws, free points, we got to make those. Assists are pretty even. Steals, we actually had more steals. We had 11, they had 5. They had more blocks. I'm waiting for Mitchell Robinson to get back into his, his regular season form, his regular season shape. He's going to be the blockness monster out there. I believe his first game back, he had like 2 blocks, 1 or 2. He didn't have any this game, but I'm waiting for it to happen, for him to just have a game where he has 5 blocks again. Maybe it'll happen in the playoffs. I don't know if it'll happen for the rest of the games that we have. We have 7 games left. Points in the paint are pretty even. And yeah, I mean, the largest lead they had was 16. We trailed from the beginning, came back in that fourth quarter, made a little bit of a fake comeback, got all the Knicks fans excited, thinking we were going to win this one, similar to how we won against them earlier in the season when we came back from a pretty large deficit. I believe it was 21 points, but no, that wasn't the case. We didn't actually come back. It was a fake comeback, so we've seen those before. We're not surprised. Hopefully the Knicks can bounce back from this one. They have to. Like I'm gonna say hopefully, but they actually have to. 4 losses in a row is gonna make me so depressed. The next game we play is against the Kings, and that is going to be at Madison Square Garden. We won against them last time on the road, if you guys recall. That was a really good game, really good win for us. It will be Thursday at 7:30. I'm hoping we could take another win against them. But again, it's going to be tough with the way the Knicks are playing, with the way they have been playing. You don't know what this team is going to do. They really have to bring the energy. They have to bring themselves. And hopefully Brunson has a better shooting night, because tonight was one of his worst shooting nights of the season. He was 5 for 18 from the field, 1 for 6 from the three-point line. Hopefully better days are coming. I mean, ultimately, we're all just wondering, when is OG and Randall coming back? And I just want them back for the playoffs. I want them back for the playoffs. If we can get them back before, I mean, of course, I'll take that too. But at this point, with the way things are looking, I don't think that's going to happen. Julius Randle has not been cleared for contact. OG Anunoby has not been involved in any contact drills since he's been sidelined recently after re-aggravating his injury. So it's not looking good. It's looking pretty rough. But one game at a time. So the next game will be on Thursday against the Kings at MSG. Have fun if you're going to be there. If not, you'll watch on TV along with me, and hopefully you'll tune into the post game as well. So without further ado, I will start to close up this post game show. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up button yet, please click it. Get those thumbs up going, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We're still on the road to 3K. Hopefully we can hit it most likely when the season ends. I'll say I'm not sure what our pace is at right now, but I think we'll hit it soon, maybe in a few months. And check out the Big Nick Energy merch shop if you haven't already. There's a lot of great merch on there. New merch for the playoffs is coming. I'm really excited about that. I saw that the promo pictures released. That looks dope if you guys haven't checked it out. But yeah, hope you guys have a great night. I know the Knicks are on a 3-game losing streak. Life seems depressing, but we'll bounce back from this. And I'll see you guys Thursday. Peace.